It was a rather light night in the National Basketball Association on Monday night with just 6 games. There were plenty of big-time teams in action, however, more than making up for the lack of teams on the hardwood. And while it wasn't quite as memorable as last week's slate on Monday, and there were a handful of studs out with injuries, the night was a good one from a fantasy perspective for those who had plenty of New Orleans Pelicans and Houston Rockets. That game turned out to be a fantasy fiesta. Let's get going. For NBA news and fantasy advice, find me on Twitter. Here Monday's Fantasy 5 Rajon Rondo had a huge performance, posting 13 points, 12 assists and 12 rebounds. It certainly wasn't a cheapie like we've seen from other players. Any triple-double is impressive, but he did turn the ball over 8 times across 42 minutes to take a little luster off of his performance, and he finished with a -15 rating on the night while hitting just 5 of 12 from the field. Still, he was 3 of 5 from behind the three-point line, and you have to give credit where credit is due, especially in a game against the likes of Paul, Harden, etc. Rondo was certainly clutch in Clutch City for the Pels. Most of the time it is the bigger-name stars like James Harden or Chris Paul garnering the headlines for the Rockets, and rightly so with all they have accomplished in their NBA careers. But Houston might have a big three situation developing, and they won't have to go out and make a trade or sign a free agent to make it happen. Clint Capella continues to fly under the radar as far as being recognized by casual fans, but hardcore hoops watchers and fantasy players know the Swiss-born big very well. He was at it again on Monday, making life miserable for the New Orleans Pelicans despite bumping down low with DeMarcus Cousins. He was nearly perfect from the floor, hitting 13 of 14, while snagging 8 rebounds and 5 blocked shots to go along with his 28 points. Capella's most popular teammate, Harden, was certainly doing his thing. In fact, the Rockets had 78 points at halftime and already had impressive fantasy stat lines just midway through the game. The Beard was good for 26 points, 17 assists and 6 steals. Harden tied a career best with the 17 dimes, too. He was able to hit 8 of 16 from the floor while dropping in 4 of 10 from behind the three-point line, turning it over just 3 times. With his huge stat line, it's hard to believe he was a -2 overall on the evening. He has been ridiculous over the past 7, averaging 34.5 ppg, 8.6 apg and 2.6 spg, and he has at least 4 three-pointers in each of his past 7 outings, and 9 of the past 10. Jonas Valanciunas might have been feeling the heat lately from Jakob Poeltl and Pascal Siakam lately, as his minutes have been down with head coach Dwayne Casey using the younger players more and more. Valanciunas has had his minutes carved into, but he put his giant Lithuanian foot down on Monday and said, "Pakanka enough," in Lithuanian. He was a very efficient 8 of 10 from the field, including 1 of 1 on three-pointers and 6 of 6 from the free-throw line, finishing with 23 points. He also grabbed 15 rebounds across 28 minutes for his first double-double since November 7th. His 28 minutes were also his most since November 15th. Apparently Casey liked the matchup against DeAndre Jordan and the Clips frontcourt, so he rolled with him. Siakam was a non-factor with no points, 2 assists, 2 rebounds and a steal with 3 personal fouls in 13 minutes, and Poeltl wasn't much better with no points, 3 rebounds, 2 blocked shots, and 5 personals in just 13 minutes. The two younger players couldn't stay out of foul trouble, and Valanciunas was more than happy to take advantage. Kevin Durant continues to step up and fill the void with Stephen Curry's sprained right ankle on the mend for at least another week, Draymond Green sore right shoulder out, and Zaza Pachulia sore left shoulder also on the shelf. KD took his teammates on his shoulders, dropping in 28 points with 9 rebounds, 5 assists and 3 blocked shots. Despite the fact the Warriors are short-handed, they have won 7 in a row, and Durant is an obvious huge part. He is averaging 33.0 ppg, 10.0 rpg, 7.3 apg and 3.4 bpg over the past 3 games as his fantasy owners take advantage of the injuries to others. Fantasy game of the night: Waste Day in H-Town, as mentioned, because it was a fantasy fiesta. If you're in a seasonal league or DFS, you are likely reaping the reward of the 253 total points scored in the Gulf Coast battle between the Pels and Rockets. We've covered the performances of Capella and Harden above, but how about Chris Paul? He hit 8 of 16 from the floor, including 3 of 9 on triples, finishing with 20 points, 9 rebounds, 6 assists, 3 steals and a blocked shot. At ISNT often CP3 plays third fiddle to anyone. It was bombs away from Trevor Ariza, too, as he connected for 3 triples and 13 points, while Eric Gordon was also red-hot off the bench. The shooting guard finished 9 of 12 from the floor, posting 27 points with 5 three-pointers, 2 rebounds, an assist and just 1 turnover. Even Nene Hilario got into the act with 8 points off the pine, hitting a very efficient 4 of 6 across 13 minutes. PJ Tucker didn't do much offensively, but he was a plus 21 across his 23 minutes while pulling down 6 boards. On the Pell side, it was a usual night at the office for DeMarcus Cousins. Boogie posted 24 points with 14 rebounds, 8 assists and a steal while hitting 8 of 17 from the field across 33 minutes. Fantasy owners might be disappointed by the lack of blocked shots, but that's really quibbling. Jrue Holiday stepped up his game with 16 of 21 shooting, finishing with a game-high 37 points, 5 assists, 4 rebounds, 4 steals and a blocked shot while draining 4 threes. E'Twaun Moore was also extremely effective, dropping in 15 of 20 from the field, including 6 of 8 from behind the arc, falling just 1 point short of Holiday's total with 36. His 6 three-pointers did mark a new career best, and New Orleans set a franchise record with 18 triples overall. Holiday has scored 30 or more points in each of his past 2 outings, and the Pelicans posted a season high with 74 first-half points. With Anthony Davis Pelvis still sidelined, the Pelicans needed a secondary and tertiary scoring option behind Cousins, and Holiday and Ed Moore have certainly fit the bill. Quick hits Kyrie Irving was sidelined, and his case for league MVP might have been made by his teammates and how much they missed him. The C's were hammered 10,885 by the hapless Bulls, as Marcus Smart, Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum all struggled from the floor. Smart made the start, finishing with 13 points, but he was just 5 of 12 from the floor and he turned it over 4 times in 31 minutes. For Chicago, Nikola Mirotic was good for 24 points, 8 rebounds, a blocked shot and 3 three-pointers across 32 minutes, while Bobby Portis canned 10 of 15 field goal attempts to finish with 23 points, 4 rebounds, an assist and a steal off the bench. James Johnson stepped up his play in Memphis, hitting 11 points with 3 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals and 2 blocked shots over 31 minutes. Goran Dragic also led the charge with 19 points, 5 rebounds and 5 assists over 25 minutes. The Heat starters earned a much-needed rest with the lopsided nature of the score in the second half, leading to 31 minutes for Wayne Ellington. He responded in kind with 12 points off the bench, all points coming by way of the three-pointer. Andrew Harrison received another start, and he rewarded interim head coach J.B. Bickerstaff with another decent performance. Harrison hit 5 of 6 from the field, including 2 of 2 on three-pointers, while going 4 of 4 from the free-throw stripe to wind up with 16 points, 4 assists and 2 steals over 30 minutes. Russell Westbrook hit 10 of 22 from the floor to finish with 30 points, 7 assists, 4 rebounds and 3 steals with just 2 turnovers across 36 minutes. That's how spoiled we are with Westbrook, as a 30-point night is viewed as just meh by his fantasy owners. DeAndre Jordan snagged 17 rebounds with 14 points, 4 assists and 2 blocked shots, doing big things despite the exploits of Valanciunas. Last but certainly not least, Damian Lillard did his part to keep his team in it against the Dubs, dumping in 39 points with 5 three-pointers. He has 29 or more points in each of his 4 games since flipping the calendar from November, averaging 33.3 ppg with 5.3 rpg, 6.3 apg and 1.0 spg.